boy, welcome back in here to News Junkies. Joining me right now is Jennifer Cooper Finnerty. She is with Loving Heart Hospice in Moore Park, and we're here to talk about an event, and with November being National Hospice Month. And Jennifer, welcome in here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Well, you're always welcome in here, you know that, and we're glad that you were able to come in on relatively short notice. Let's talk about, first of all, the hike that's coming up in November.
Yes, we do. We have a hike on Saturday, November 7th, and it's going to be in Newbury Park at Rancho Sierra Vista. And check-in is at 9. I think we'll be done about noon. And it's really a low-key event. It's you can hike on your own. You can hike in one of our groups, beginning, intermediate, or advanced. And we really do that as just an awareness piece for Hospice Month.
With Hospice Month, let's talk a little bit about that. We're going to come back and let people know where they can find out more information, days, times, and all of that on the hike. But we've got National Hospice Month in the month of November. Tell us about some of the things that are going on to raise awareness about what hospice can do for individuals.
Well, I think as we've talked about before, Bill, hospice is, the word or the term hospice is virtually a scary term for some people, because I think that when they hear that word, they immediately think end of life. And so hospice is really about comfort care. And there's a lot of medicine now around palliative care and comfort care. And so Hospice Month is, like we have October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So November is Hospice Month. And it's really just letting folks know that hospice services are available to them. It is oftentimes a covered benefit for them. And certainly we have the full continuum of care at the Hospice Foundation for that.
Now, what is the difference? You brought up a term that I don't think a lot of people have heard about. I know that in Canada they use it quite a bit, and they almost interchange it with hospice, and that's palliative care. What is the difference between the two, if any?
Palliative care is pain control. That's really what that is. I think that there are a lot of people that live on a daily basis with pain. So palliative care is comfort for patients, because they may not necessarily be at end of life, but they need some assistance with pain control and being comfortable and being able to carry on day to day. So that's really the difference between, it's they're very aligned, they're very similar, because oftentimes hospice care is about comfort care and quality of life at the end of life.
Well, with hospice, I can see how palliative care can actually be a component of the hospice care, not necessarily hospice care in itself, but certainly a component.
Absolutely. And there's so much great research around palliative care now. The medical field, I don't feel, is really up to speed yet with all of it. I don't think that everyone's bought into, and when I say everyone, I mean insurance companies have bought into the benefit and the necessity for palliative care. And so I hope in the next few years, maybe 5 or so years, we'll see some change in that.
Well, I know that a lot of people who unfortunately suffer from cancer, they have a lot of pain issues that go along with that dreaded disease, whatever form of cancer that he or she might have.
Absolutely. And Bill, we often see when patients are discharged to us, whether it's on home health or hospice, we often see patients experiencing pain out of control. And really, from a Hospice Foundation's perspective, there is no reason for that. And so that's really our first order of business with the patients, is to have good communication with their support system, with their spouse or their caregivers, and really figure out what's going on with that patient and how can we get their pain under control. Because you can't rest, you can't sleep, you can't have any comfort, we all know, when you're in pain.
And that's very true. There are, in certain forms of pain, you could have pain from having fibromyalgia, for instance, and that might be different from pain associated with cancer, or if you have peripheral neuropathy. There's all kinds of pain that people have to cope with on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. And if you've never experienced any of that kind of pain, I think it's hard to really understand that. And when you work with patients who are in pain all of the time, then you start to really develop that sensitivity chip and really come forth with what can we do as a hospice team or as a home health team to assist this patient. And it's not always pharmaceutical drug related. I mean, there are lots of other complementary medicines that we can suggest to patients that are helpful to them.
Would there be some type of a protocol for homeopathic remedies?
Absolutely, yes. I would say more so in the hospice world than anywhere. I think that we really endorse homeopathic medicine. Actually, what we endorse is what's best for the patient. And if that is pharmaceutical drugs, or if that's homeopathic, or it's some combination of that, then that's what we would want for that patient.
When you're trying to assess a patient's needs, what makes the determination, or who makes that determination as to what form of pain treatment that individual might need?
Well, there's a very comprehensive history and physical that's done on the patient. And then we have our RN that goes out. And then we obviously have a physician director over all of that. So it's multiple people looking at not only their medical history, but also going out and physically and doing a physical face-to-face assessment and having conversation. Is the patient on any kind of medication now? Are they having any kind of interactions with that medication? Do we need to change that medication? So really we want the patient to be as comfortable as possible, and I cannot tell you how many times we see patients with pain out of control, and we really we want to move away from that.
And again, it all comes back to the level of comfort for that individual.
Absolutely, and that's why good communication is important, and good conversation with the family and the patient. I mean, patients, I remember when my own father was discharged on hospice, he was very coherent, very lucid. He could tell you what he wanted and what he didn't want, and what his pain number was at, or his pain level was at. So that's exactly what we do at the foundation, is we assess those patients and just try to come alongside them and really give them what they feel they need and want.
All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the hike, and I want to talk about the organization you work with, which is Loving Hearts. The hike is going to be on what day, what time, and how do people get more information?
The hike is on Saturday, November 7th, 9 a.m. to noon. They can register online at our website, which is lovinghhfoundation.com, or they can call our office at area code 805-222-4673. They can also just show up the day of if they want to do that, because we can accommodate on-site registration. It's $25. Again, it's really not a fundraiser for us, it's an awareness.
And so out of that $25, do they get a T-shirt or some other kind of a goodie bag to?
Good question. We have hiker swag bags.
Excellent.
So that's very, very fun with lots of goodies in there. And then they'll get a lunch coupon. Jersey Mike's is our lunch sponsor, so I shout out to them. And they'll get a lunch coupon to have lunch after the hike is over.
Oh, you've got to try Jersey Mike's. I don't want to
best,
sound like a
right?
commercial. They're but they're
best.
very, very good. Loving Hearts. Let's talk a little bit about Loving Hearts. A very comprehensive organization.
We are. I feel very fortunate. So we are a nonprofit, and we assist patients and families with end-of-life care. And that can be hospice, home health, caregiving, transportation, and we have a beautiful 10-bed facility, which we've talked about before. We are meant to come alongside families who can't financially afford end-of-life care. And we've talked before about how expensive end-of-life care is. And not everybody has long-term care insurance, or even great insurance to begin with. So that's what we're there for, to assist.
Excellent. So again, for more information about the hike and for Loving Hearts Hospice Foundation, how can people get a hold of you?
Our website, lovinghhfoundation.com, and our local phone number, area code 805-222-4673.
Jennifer, always a pleasure, and you know that you're always welcome in here when you've got an event or an activity going on.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Jennifer Cooper Finnerty has been our guest. She's the executive director of the Loving Hearts Hospice Foundation in Moore Park. I'm Bill DeFoi. You've been watching News Junkies, a production of the Heritage Media Group.